Hey, remember when COPPA was considered a huge deal? We were all like, oh my gosh, it's the end of YouTube. It's the end of the world. Oh, the things that we wasted our time worrying about. It was such a simpler time. So I was honestly hoping that I would not need to make a sequel about this topic. You know, back then, I guess I just assumed things would have gotten better by now. But long and behold, 3 months later, Steve is still here, mother of pearl! Would I have preferred to make a video about something else more fun and lighthearted? Yes, absolutely. I would have loved to talk about my 2 new praying mantises, Toph and Kha'Zix, or about all the K-pop that's been going on. But before any of that can happen, I feel like I just really need to get this out there because the fact is, this topic is still very relevant and serious. I mean, look at this. I'm sitting behind a desk. Since when have I ever done that? So today we are here to talk once again about Steve and what are my, how should I say, opinions on certain things. Because while Steve continues to spread, the US is still like, oh. If you don't know what's going on, either you don't live in the United States or you live under a rock, which is probably one of the safest places to be right now. But basically, we went through a shutdown for like 2 months. We were ordered to stay at home, all in an attempt to slow the spread of Steve. And for a while, it was working. As you can see from this fancy graph here, it was kind of flat. Up until we come to this logarithmic shape, the US decided it was a great idea to reopen, to mark the beginning of the great American comeback, as some said. No, it was a great comeback, all right. For Steve. Can we talk about those people protesting the lockdown really quick? I'm not referring to the ones that needed to get back to work to provide for their families and pay the bills, the justifiable reasons. No, I'm talking about the ones that were just complaining that they couldn't go to the beach or the mall or get their ice cream or whatever these Karens like to do. I don't know. It was 2 months, people. When elders have that back in my day talk, if these guys even get to that point, can you imagine what their stories are going to be like? You see here, back in my day, we had to stay in the comfort of our own homes with the internet, food, and water for 2 whole months. It was torture. It was tyranny, I say tyranny. We were being oppressed by our government. 2 whole months? Seriously? That just sounds like my usual summer vacation. Anyways, back to the reopening. It itself, though still risky to open so early, it wouldn't have gotten so bad as long as people abided by the most simplest of guidelines, i.e. wear a mask, social distance, and avoid large gatherings. For the majority of people, they have done that well. Unfortunately, in the eyes of some Americans, guns blazing, red, white, and blue flag with a screaming bald eagle in the background, that is just asking too much. Because apparently the safety and well-being of those around you during a global crisis is a violation of your rights, just because it's uncomfortable and covers part of your precious face. What? We have to wear a mask during a pandemic? Oh, the humanity! Normally in these situations, I would just be like, well, just let them do what they want and they'll deal with the consequences. The whole you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes kind of thing. But unfortunately, we are all playing this game and we have to share this prize. Meaning these people's actions put others at risk, including those that are taking it seriously. And that's honestly why it's so frustrating when you see these kinds of people try to argue and complain over the most simplest of instructions. This is by far the worst group project ever. We are given clear and simple instructions on how to get an A, and even then, someone finds a reason not to do it. Instead, what do people do in the face of Steve? They throw parties for him and see who will be the first to receive his gift. And you might think I'm joking, and for the sake of humanity, I wish I was, but this legitly happened. And then you have those that are either downplaying the situation or they still believe that it's all a conspiracy. And that is just, ugh. I learned from Tabs' video that these people are termed as COVIDiots, which I think is very appropriate. Unfortunately, the biggest ones just happen to be in charge of leading this country. I'm not sure in what world are 3 million cases and counting considered as under control.
United States, this time we really shouldn't be striving to get number 1. Last is actually preferred this time.
I seriously cannot believe that this statement, if we don't test, then we won't have any more new cases, is considered a valid argument. I mean, yes, but at the same time, no. Very much no. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. It's like thinking Steve only exists and spreads because of testing, and once we stop, oh, well, they stopped testing, so I'm just gonna disappear. Peace! Basically, it is getting so bad that it's just better to not look at it. Ah, yes, ignorance truly is bliss. If there was a conspiracy, it would be to make America great at being a complete joke, and it's working. In the meantime, people continue to blame and hate Asians, but if you look at it, majority of the Asian countries have been dealing with the Steve pandemic pretty well, and they're all laughing at us. At this point, when someone is like, go back to where you came from, you dirty Asian, honestly, I wish I could, because you seem a little crazy to me, and I think I would be much safer there than here. Do you remember when a certain someone referred to Steve as Kung Flu? It's a very interesting nickname. And yes, it is racist, and now you can definitely count on people openly use that term towards Asian people. But honestly, with how things are going, Kung Flu is a very appropriate nickname, because right now, it is kicking our ass. So that brings us back to the question, what can we do now? At the very least, the spread needs to stop, and that can only happen when people start abiding by the most basic guidelines that we were given at the very beginning. But I see there are still many that find these too demanding. So if you think that these are violating your rights, or government is controlling you, or you're giving into fear, well, let's think about it like this. By abiding by these guidelines, you are not living in fear or being controlled, but you are choosing to be a part of the solution instead of the problem. You are also choosing to not be selfish, but be considerate of others, and choosing to be responsible so that you keep your loved ones safe. And by choosing to wear a mask, you show that you have enough self-confidence in your looks that you can rock wearing a mask. Look at this Akali KDA version. That's freaking awesome. And I mean, personally for me, I think I look pretty good wearing a mask. So, yeah. But honestly, all jokes aside, I know times are tough. And I understand how frustrating it is to not be able to see friends and hang out with them normally, or to just get some sense of normal back. I admit that I get that urge to take that risk thinking, yeah, it won't happen to me, or even if I get sick, I'll get through it okay. But I don't know that. These are not normal times, and it's something that I keep reminding myself and others that while some cases have been reported to be minor, many others have been quite extreme throughout all age groups. And this thing is incredibly contagious, and despite previously thought knowledge, no age group should be considered 100% safe. So, I can't stress this enough, but if there is anything that you need to take away from this video, it is that you do not know who has it, and you do not know how your body will react if you get sick. And equally important, you don't know how your family or friends will react as well. So just please act responsibly, be considerate of others, and don't do something that you will regret. So, who knows what is in store for the future? Maybe there will be a major breakthrough in the medical field. Or maybe all the COVIDiots congregate on a cruise ship called the Corona Cruise, piloted by Steve. Sail out in the middle of nowhere to have the biggest party hosted by Steve, leaving the rest of us to fix the problem. Or, even less likely, our government actually takes appropriate actions to lead us out of this crisis. Now that would be considered a great American comeback. I know, this topic wasn't really something all of us wanted to hear, but you know what? Considering what has been going on, a tofu just needs to vent every once in a while, okay? Don't worry, I will be making more fun videos from now on. Although, I am kind of curious if you guys would like me to cover these topics more, like maybe shorter segments. I could definitely upload those faster. But yeah, let me know in the comments below, because believe me, after seeing all the stuff that's happened in the past few weeks, ooh, so much stuff I could say. But I won't if you guys don't want me to. Let's see. Other than that, thank you so much for watching and getting this far and hearing me out. It really means a lot to me. And I will see you all in the next video. But until then, stay safe and stay young.